My uncle discovered this object buried in his house while remodeling. It weighs about 200 grams, feels solid, but isn't perfectly round. Does anyone know what it is? It is a Polino, often called a jack or bullet. This is the small target ball used in the game of bocce. The sport originated in Italy and stems from games played in the Roman Empire. The objective is to roll larger, heavier balls as close as possible to this smaller marker. The 200-gram weight and imperfect shape suggest this is an older version, possibly made of stone or ceramic, rather than modern resin. It likely belonged to a set used in a backyard court long before the house was renovated. I was working on my HP Elite book when it suddenly started making weird noises I've never heard before. I checked everywhere, but no videos were playing, no games were running, and nothing I had installed matched these sound effects. I restarted the computer and it stopped immediately, but I have no idea where the sound came from. Does anyone know what it is? It is most likely audio from a hidden browser tab or a rogue advertisement running in the background. This phenomenon often occurs when a web page loads an auto-playing video script off-screen or in a minimized window. Browsers process these active scripts even if you cannot see the source. Alternatively, it could be a notification from pre-installed manufacturer software, often called bloatware, running a demo alert without a visual pop-up. Since a restart cleared the system memory and terminated the stuck process, this was a software glitch rather than a mechanical hardware failure. I keep hearing a loud noise outside my university accommodation at midnight. It sounds like an animal, but it is terrifying and driving me mad. Does anyone know what it is? What you are hearing is a red fox. Specifically, this is known as a vixen scream. While it sounds horrifyingly like a human in distress, it is a contact call used primarily during the mating season, which peaks between December and February. Foxes use these high-pitched shrieks to locate mates or establish territory boundaries in urban environments. The sound is produced by forcing air rapidly through their vocal cords to maximize distance, ensuring other foxes miles away can hear the signal. I found this weird fog thing in Mexico. My only guess is that it is some type of cloud. Does anyone know what it is? It's a vector control measure known as thermal fogging. The advice you receive to stay out of it is correct. This dense white cloud is generated by a machine that heats a mixture of insecticide and oil to produce droplets smaller than 50 microns. In tropical climates, public health officials use this method to eliminate adult mosquitoes carrying diseases like dengue and Zika. The fog is designed to drift into dense vegetation and urban nooks where insects hide. While necessary for disease control, the concentrated pesticide mist can irritate the lungs and skin, so you should always keep a safe distance until it dissipates. I have a bottle of hair oil that is barely a month old. It was stored in my medicine cabinet, which gets very cold in the winter. Recently, the oil turned into a slush, and now there are these motionless white dots stuck to the bottom and the straw. Is it mold? Does anyone know what it is? It is not mold. You are looking at crystallized lipids. This phenomenon occurs when natural oils, like the jojoba oil in your product, are exposed to temperatures below their freezing point. Much like olive oil becoming chunky in a refrigerator, the fatty alcohols and esters in the formula have solidified into opaque spheres. This is a reversible physical change, not a biological one. To restore the oil, simply place the bottle in warm water for a few minutes. The heat will melt the crystals back into a liquid state. I ordered a car part and this came with the package. It looks like a standard drink holder, but the diameter is too small to fit regular soda cans inside. Does anyone know what it is? It's a bottle koozie. Specifically, this size is manufactured to fit 12-ounce long-neck glass bottles rather than aluminum cans. While knitted insulators existed earlier, the term koozie was coined and trademarked by the radio cap company in Texas around 1980. This promotional item uses neoprene or foam insulation to prevent condensation on the glass and stop body heat from your hand from warming the drink. I found this in an old woman's stuff, and it looks like a decorative pipe with a small choke hole. I tried Googling the brand name glass head and floral pipe, but image search isn't helping at all. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a vintage smoking pipe manufactured by Glass Head. This company was active during the 1970s and was known for producing ceramic and glass cannabis paraphernalia. The floral design served a dual purpose. It made the pipe aesthetically pleasing, but also allowed it to blend in as a piece of decorative art or a knickknack when placed on a shelf, effectively hiding its true function in plain sight. I found this object in Portland on New Year's Eve. It looks like a bullet, specifically a .22 caliber, but it is hollow and made of brass. The writing on the side reads Avon in clear red. Does anyone know what it is? It's a vintage lipstick sample from the Avon Company. These miniature brass containers were widely distributed by sales representatives, known as Avon ladies, primarily during the 1950s and 1960s. The text clear red indicates the specific shade of the cosmetic inside. Because these samples were too small to hold a mechanical twist base, the tiny hole at the bottom served a practical function. It allowed a customer to push the lipstick up using a matchstick or a pin to apply the color. My mom found this small metal object in the dryer after doing laundry. It looks like a mechanical part with a winding key on the back. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a classic practical joke device known as a joy buzzer. Invented by Danish-American entrepreneur Søren Adams in 1928, this gadget became the flagship product of the S.S. Adams Company. Despite the name, it generates no electricity. It relies on a clockwork mechanism inside the casing. When you wind it up and shake a victim's hand, a trigger releases a spring that causes a blunt tip to vibrate rapidly against the palm. This vibration tricks the nerves, mimicking the sensation of a mild electric shock. After my grandfather passed away, I found these among his wartime items. He was in the 82nd Airborne during World War II, but he never showed me these. They look like they spent some time in water, and I was thinking they might be some kind of sword hilt. Does anyone know what it is? It's a pair of Japanese sword guards, known as tsuba. While they are part of the hilt assembly, the tsuba is specifically the handguard, not the entire handle. Fitted between the blade and the grip of a sword like a katana, its primary function was to protect the user's hand from sliding onto the blade and to offer protection from an opponent's weapon. Beyond their function, tsuba were often highly ornate works of art, reflecting the status of the samurai owner. Given your grandfather's service, it's highly probable these were collected as war souvenirs from the Pacific Theater during World War II. I found these strange prints and yellow discoloration in the snow on my balcony this morning in Northern Virginia. I don't usually see any animals up here, and the temperature has stayed below freezing. I'm wondering if this is some kind of animal, or if my wooden table is leaking stain onto the snow. Does anyone know what it is? This isn't from an animal, but is a direct result of melting snow dripping from your table. Even if the air temperature is below freezing, direct sunlight can be strong enough to melt the very top layer of snow resting on the wooden slats. As the water melts, it picks up small amounts of dirt, dust, and wood stain from the table's surface. This discolored water then drips through the gaps between the boards, creating the distinct pattern you see on the snow below. Each print corresponds to a drip point, which is why they appear in a regular, repeating line. I found this springy-looking thing in my basement. It can be unscrewed, but I have no idea what it is used for. Does anyone know what it is? It's a professional audio component known as the Nutric NA2JJ adapter. This is a locking coupler for 6.35mm or quarter-inch audio jacks. It is designed to extend cable lengths or fit into a standardized D-shaped rack panel used in concert venues and recording studios. The robust metal housing protects the connection, while the internal latching mechanism ensures the cable does not get pulled out during a live show. I found a few of these in my bed recently, and I'm unsure what they are. They are incredibly small, oval-shaped objects with a mottled gray and black pattern. Does anyone know what it is? It's a chia seed. This is the edible seed of Salvia hispanica, a flowering plant in the mint family native to central and southern Mexico. Evidence suggests humans have cultivated these since 3500 BC, and they were a staple crop for the Aztecs alongside maize. They are mechanically fascinating because they are hydrophilic. A single seed can absorb up to 12 times its weight in liquid. When wet, they develop a sticky, mucilaginous coating, which is likely why they stuck to your clothing or bedding after a snack. I bought this bowl at a thrift shop and tried to steam dumplings in the microwave. Suddenly, I heard sizzling and smelled something burning. A sticky substance started oozing out of the ceramic, but the part holding water was fine. Does anyone know what it is? What you are seeing is a phenomenon known as ceramic sweating. This bowl is made of glazed earthenware, a type of porous pottery that acts like a hard sponge. Over the years, microscopic cracks in the glaze, known as crazing, allow dish soap, meat juices, and oils to seep into the clay body. When you ran the microwave, that trapped liquid was superheated into steam. The pressure forced the old residue out through the cracks. That brown, sticky goo isn't the bowl melting. It is decades of concentrated, burnt food waste and old detergent being purged from inside the walls. I noticed this weird mark on the ceiling of my hotel room. It looks like a dirty circle with a plastic cap in the middle. Does anyone know what it is? It's the outline of a removed light fixture. When a ceiling lamp is installed for years, the paint around it fades from sunlight and air exposure, while the paint underneath stays fresh. The dark ring is often dust accumulated by air convection currents caused by the heat of the old bulb. That small circle in the center is a blanking plate, used to cover the electrical junction box in the ceiling after the fixture is taken down. I was deep cleaning my rental property and found this sitting on top of the curtain pelmet in the bedroom. It is a small black sensor attached to a long wire. Does anyone know what it is? It's an infrared receiver, often part of an IR repeater system. Television remotes communicate using pulses of invisible infrared light, which strictly require a direct line of sight to function. If a previous tenant had a cable box or media player hidden inside a cabinet or behind the television, the signal would be blocked. This sensor is designed to be placed out in the open to catch the command from your remote, then transmit the electrical signal down the wire to the concealed device so it can change the channel. I spotted this strange hexagonal grid mounted on the front of an ICE vehicle in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It looks like some kind of speaker or sensor. Does anyone know what it is? It's a long-range acoustic device, or LRAD. Originally developed for the United States Navy following the USS Cole bombing in 2000, this system acts as both a loudspeaker and a non-lethal weapon. Unlike standard speakers that disperse sound waves, the LRAD arranges piezoelectric transducers to fire in phase, creating a focused beam of sound up to 30 degrees wide. Law enforcement uses it to broadcast clear commands over 1.8 miles away, or to emit a pain-inducing deterrent tone at 160 decibels to disperse crowds. I cannot for the life of me figure out what my dog was chewing on. It looks strange, and honestly, it is creeping me out a little bit. Does anyone know what it is? It's an avocado seed. Specifically, it is the dried pit of the Persea americana fruit that has begun to degrade. When an avocado seed is exposed to air, the tannins inside oxidize, turning the flesh a deep reddish brown. As it dries, the outer skin peels away and the seed splits into two halves, known as cotyledons. This texture often looks fleshy or organ-like, which is why they are frequently mistaken for something more sinister when found in the yard. I found this inside a reproduction Alice pack. It appears to be a spool of painted wire, and it was stored next to glow sticks, a knife, and a fire starter. I thought it might be for marking trails. Does anyone know what it is? It's a spool of military tripwire. This is typically olive drab painted brass or stainless steel, designed to blend into foliage. In a tactical setting, soldiers use it to rig trip flares or claymores for perimeter defense. However, in the context of your survival kit, it serves a dual purpose. It is the primary material used to fashion snares for trapping small game like rabbits, and its high tensile strength makes it essential for emergency field repairs, such as binding broken backpack frames or lashing gear together. After shoveling snow, these painful shiny hairs appeared on my hand. It hurts quite a bit, and I am trying to figure out the source. Does anyone know what it is? What you found are fiberglass spicules. These likely came from the shaft of your snow shovel. Many tool handles are manufactured using a fiberglass reinforced polymer. Over time, exposure to UV radiation from sunlight degrades the protective resin coating, causing the microscopic glass fibers to bloom outward. When you gripped the handle without gloves, these fibers embedded into your skin, causing mechanical irritation. To remove them, many professionals recommend using a strip of duct tape to pull the filaments out safely. Found in the bedroom of our Airbnb cabin, my wife noticed it facing the bed as we were packing to leave. It is located near a thermostat, but it looks suspiciously like a small camera or microphone. Does anyone know what it is? It's a remote temperature sensor. Specifically, this is a standard indoor sensor often used with Honeywell HVAC systems. While the small plastic housing and central hole might resemble a camera lens, that opening is actually an air intake. Behind the casing sits a thermistor, a resistor that changes its electrical resistance based on the ambient heat. This allows the central heating system to monitor the temperature in the loft specifically, rather than relying on a thermostat located in a different room or hallway. It contains no optical or audio recording hardware. Oh, I bought this silk photo at a vintage market, but there is a problem. Every time I pick it up, this strange red dust falls out of it. It seems to be coming from inside the frame itself. Does anyone know what this red dust is? What you are seeing is the disintegrated remains of the frame's original backing material. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, easel-backed frames were frequently covered in red velvet or heavy felt. Over decades, the organic cotton or wool fibers and the animal glues used to adhere them suffer from dry rot and oxidation. The material loses its structural integrity and crumbles into a fine particulate powder. Conservators generally recommend carefully removing the remaining debris and sealing the back with acid-free board to protect the photograph from further damage. I got this at the state fair, but I have no idea what it does. It looks like a simple keychain, but it has this strange hook on one end. Does anyone know what it is? This object is known as a no-touch hygiene tool, or a hygiene key. These became extremely popular around the year 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic. The mechanics are simple. The hook is designed to pull open door handles, and the small tip can be used to press buttons on elevators or payment keypads. The purpose was to avoid direct hand contact with high-traffic public surfaces. While the concept was popular, its effectiveness was often debated, as the tool itself could become contaminated and required frequent cleaning to serve its purpose. I spotted this object outside on my deck. Given the number of birds in the area, I assumed it was related to wildlife, perhaps a feeder or a sensor. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is an ultrasonic anti-barking device. These units are frequently manufactured to resemble birdhouses, so they can be mounted discreetly on fences or trees without looking out of place. Functionally, it uses a microphone to detect the specific decibel level of a barking dog. Once triggered, it projects a high-frequency sound wave, typically around 25 kHz. This noise is inaudible to humans but unpleasant for dogs, serving as a deterrent to silence noisy pets in the neighborhood. I spotted this strange creature on a painting from 2001. It looks somewhat prehistoric, but the features make me uncomfortable the longer I look. Does anyone know what animal it is supposed to be? It is a detail from a piece titled Wonderful World by Alexis Rockman. Painted in 2000, Rockman is an American artist known for depicting dystopian futures shaped by genetic engineering and climate change. This is not a real dinosaur. It is a fictional bioengineered hybrid created specifically for the artwork. The artist intentionally gave the creature uncanny, human-like traits to unsettle the viewer, highlighting the potential consequences of manipulating nature. I found this object on a beach on the southeastern coast of Sweden. It looks like a green military case with foreign text on the front. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is an IPP50mm individual anti-chemical package. This kit was standard issue for the armed forces of the Polish People's Republic from the early 1970s until the mid-1990s. Designed to be carried in a gas mask bag, it contains gauze swabs and specific chemical solutions like sodium cresolate and zinc chloride to neutralize toxic agents on the skin. It also includes glass ampules with a mixture of chloroform and ammonia used for pain relief. Given the location, this kit likely drifted across the Baltic Sea from Poland. I found this structure on the wall and I'm confused. I think it might be a mud dauber nest, but those are usually long tubes. This looks more like a random pile of sand stuck to the surface. Does anyone know what it is? It's a black and yellow mud dauber nest. While you might be used to seeing the neat parallel pipes of the organ pipe mud dauber, this species, known scientifically as Celephron cementarium, has a different architectural style. The female builds individual cells side by side, but then covers the entire cluster with a final thick layer of mud. She vibrates her wings while applying the wet earth to liquefy and smooth it, resulting in that amorphous blob-like shape that protects the paralyzed spiders stored inside for her larvae. I found this tool in a kitchen drawer. It looks confusingly similar to a standard can opener, but it lacks the sharp cutting wheel usually found on those devices. It clamps together, but I cannot figure out its actual function. Does anyone know what it is? It's a manual jar and bottle opener. Unlike a can opener designed to pierce and cut through metal, this device uses adjustable toothed jaws to grip the outer circumference of a lid. When you squeeze the handles, the teeth bite into the side of the lid, providing the leverage needed to twist and break the vacuum seal on stubborn glass jars without damaging the container. These were common kitchen staples in the mid-20th century before rubber grip pads became popular. My friend has this vintage drawing set, and I've always wondered about some of the tools inside. About half of them have these pincer-like ends. They look like they're meant to grab something very small, but I can't figure out what. Does anyone know what it is? This object is known as a ruling pen nib, a standard component in drafting sets before the digital age. It's not designed to grab anything, but rather to hold ink. The two metal blades, or nibs, form a narrow reservoir. A drafter would use a dropper, or brush, to apply India ink into the gap between them. Capillary action holds the ink in place. By turning the small screw, the user could precisely adjust the distance between the nibs, which controlled the width of the line drawn on paper. These attachments allowed architects and engineers to draw incredibly precise circles and arcs in permanent ink when connected to a compass. I found this while walking on a beach off the Persian Gulf. It's a seashell, but the entire top surface is covered with lots of smaller seashells that seem to be stuck on. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a carrier shell, a type of sea snail belonging to the family Xenophoridae. These snails are known for their remarkable behavior of collecting and cementing other objects to their own shells. As the snail grows, it carefully selects debris from the ocean floor, like the bivalve shells seen here, and attaches them to the outer edge of its shell. Scientists believe this provides excellent camouflage, breaking up the snail's outline to hide it from predators like crabs. The added material also increases the shell's stability, preventing it from sinking into soft sand. There are approximately 25 known species of carrier snails worldwide. I found this in an office I clean on the weekends, but no one was around to ask about it. It has a metal handle and what looks like a thin, tight wire stretched across a fork-like head. I can't figure out what it would be used for in an office. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a cheese slicer. This specific design was invented and patented in 1925 by a Norwegian cabinet maker named Thor Björklund. He was reportedly frustrated with getting uneven slices of cheese using a regular knife, so he adapted the principle of a wood plane, which he used in his workshop. The tool allows for consistent, thin slices to be cut from a block of cheese. It became a staple in Scandinavian kitchens and is common worldwide. The office likely has a break room or kitchen area where it's used. I was looking closely at this vernier caliper and noticed a specific assembly on the side. It consists of 2 screws and a textured roller. I know the tool measures distance, but what is the specific function of this cluster? Does anyone know what it is? What you have highlighted is the fine adjustment carriage. This mechanism is designed to aid machinists in making microscopic changes to the measurement that are difficult to do by hand. Here is how it functions. When you tighten the screw on the right, it anchors a small block to the main beam. Once that is locked, rotating the knurled thumb roller moves the caliper jaws forward or backward very slowly, allowing you to dial in the exact dimension. Finally, the screw on the left acts as the main lock, freezing the jaws in place to preserve the reading. I found this large, jagged plant part in a garden. It has a silver-green color and sharp spines along the edges. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a leaf from a globe artichoke. While consumers usually only see the tight, edible flower buds in supermarkets, the plant itself is a massive species of thistle. The leaves can grow nearly 3 feet long and are deeply lobed with prickly tips, characteristic of the Cinera genus. If the famous heart is not harvested for food, the plant eventually blooms into a spectacular purple flower. I found this strange fastener and I have never seen a screw like this before. I need to remove it, but I have no idea what tool fits this pattern. Does anyone know what it is? It's a spanner head security screw, also commonly known as snake eyes. These fasteners are designed specifically to prevent tampering in public places like elevators and bus terminals. The head features 2 round holes instead of a slot or cross, requiring a specialized driver bit with 2 protruding pins to apply torque. While you can buy a security bit set at most hardware stores, you can also improvise a removal tool. By taking an inexpensive flathead screwdriver and filing a notch out of the center of the blade, you can create a makeshift fork that fits perfectly into the 2 holes. I found these strange tracks in northern Germany. We initially thought it might be a bunny, but strangely there are no prints for the front paws. Does anyone know what made these? It's a domestic cat. The reason you do not see front paws is due to a gait called direct registering. When a cat walks, it places its hind foot in the exact same spot where the front foot just stepped. This evolutionary trait minimizes noise and reduces the tracks left behind, allowing the cat to stalk prey without detection. The result is a neat line of single prints that makes it look like a 2-legged animal passed by. I came across this while walking my dog in Scotland. It looks like a heavy concrete block with a rusted metal loop just sitting in the grass. I was hoping to find out what this old thing's purpose could have been. Does anyone know what it is? It's a World War II tie-down weight. Specifically, these heavy concrete blocks were used to anchor barrage balloons. Between 1939 and 1945, the British military floated large balloons over cities and ports to defend against low-flying Luftwaffe attacks. Thick steel cables connected the balloon to these weights on the ground. The cables created a physical barrier that would shear the wing off any plane attempting to fly low for a strafing run, forcing enemy pilots to fly higher and reducing their bombing accuracy. I bought this toy at a thrift store and my dog absolutely loves it. Unfortunately, he chewed off the tag before I could even look it up. Does anyone know what it is? It's a yellow Hemka plush toy from the Hasbro franchise. Specifically, this character comes from the 2017 animated web series Hanazuki, full of treasures. In the show's lore, Hemkas are small creatures that represent different moods for the protagonist. This specific yellow one represents happiness. Hasbro produced these plushies with Velcro on the long ears, allowing children to wrap them around their wrists or attach them to backpacks as wearable mood accessories. I saw this tabletop game in a YouTube video, but all the descriptions and comments were in Chinese, so I couldn't understand the rules. It looks like a carnival game involving rolling balls, but I can't translate the writing on the board. Does anyone know what it is? This game is known as Jing Luo Q, which roughly translates to Star Drop Ball. It is a precision arcade game played in 2 rounds, where the points you score in the first round roll over to the second. The mechanics rely on momentum control. You must launch the balls with enough force to reach high-value zones, but if you push too hard, the balls drop off the end of the table and are removed from play. The writing describes a competitive ranking system similar to modern video games, listing tiers like bronze, silver, gold, and master based on the total score. I found this object lying in a parking lot. It fits in the palm of my hand, and when you squeeze it, it makes a distinct clicking sound. Does anyone know what it is? It's a high-security barrel lock, often used by utility companies. These are commonly found securing the clamping rings on electric or gas meters to prevent tampering and theft of service. The clicking sound comes from the internal spring-loaded plunger. Unlike a standard padlock that turns, this lock relies on hardened steel balls that expand outward to grip the casing. It cannot be opened with a standard key. Instead, it requires a specialized expansion tool used only by utility technicians to release the tension. I keep finding these squishy items on the floor at a school. They measure about 1/4 of an inch and look like brown cubes coated in a white substance. My initial thought was candy, but image searches came up empty. Does anyone know what it is? It is a yogurt fruit bite. Specifically, this appears to be a snack similar to Welch's fruit and yogurt. These treats are manufactured by taking a center of concentrated fruit puree or a dried fruit piece and coating it in a creamy shell using a confectionery process called panning. In panning, the fruit centers are tumbled in a rotating drum, while the yogurt mixture is slowly added to create an even layer. They are a common addition to school lunchboxes because they offer a sweet flavor profile and a soft, chewy texture distinct from freeze-dried yogurt drops. I found this jar at my mom's place. It says it is raw blueberry honey, but it has been sitting there for 6 years. It looks completely separated with a strange dark liquid on top. Can honey actually go bad? Does anyone know what it is? What you found is natural crystallization and separation. Honey is a supersaturated solution of sugars. Over time, glucose molecules bond together to form solid crystals at the bottom, pushing the remaining fructose and water to the top as that dark liquid. While honey is famous for longevity, archaeologists have found edible honey in Egyptian tombs dating back 3,000 years. Separation introduces a variable. If the water activity in that liquid layer exceeds 18%, dormant yeast can wake up and ferment the honey. Smell it. If it smells sour, throw it out. If not, gently heat it in a water bath to recombine the layers. This Noel reindeer set has been in my family for a long time. I am trying to get another set just like it, but I cannot find it anywhere I look. Does anyone know what it is? It's a vintage mid-century ceramic Christmas set. Specifically, these figurine sets were mass-produced in Japan during the 1950s and 1960s for export to the American market. Manufacturers like Napco, Lefton, and Commodore popularized this specific style, featuring anthropomorphic reindeer posing with or holding the letters. Because these specific molds haven't been in production for decades, they are considered collectibles today. You will not find them in modern retail stores, but they frequently appear on secondary resale markets like Mercari or eBay. I was surveying for work in an old agricultural field in the southeast United States when I stumbled upon this. There are no structures nearby and nothing shows up on the historic maps. It looks like a massive pipe system with a cable and a disc. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a remnant of an antique irrigation water control system. Specifically, this is a standpipe and siphon valve assembly used to regulate water flow from canals into fields. The vertical pipe connects to an underground line, while the rod and cable mechanism served as an analog automation tool. The disc functioned as a float or counterweight. As the water level rose or fell, it mechanically triggered the valve to open or close. This allowed farmers to manage complex drainage and irrigation networks entirely without electricity. I found this strange item in my kitchen drawer. It looks like a mechanical puzzle, but the pieces just twist around without solving anything. It obviously isn't meant to lock into place. Does anyone know what it is? It's an articulated fidget toy, often popularized by the brand Tangle. Created by sculptor Richard X. Darzowitz in 1981, this device mimics the geometry of a Tibetan infinite knot. The mechanism uses a series of 90-degree curved segments linked together, allowing each joint to rotate 360 degrees. Unlike a puzzle, there is no end state to solve. Instead, the repetitive motion provides sensory input to assist with focus and fine motor skills. Is it pronounced lychee or lychee? I say the first one, but I am confused about which version is actually correct. Does anyone know the answer? The answer lies in the original Mandarin characters for the fruit. The first character corresponds to a li sound, not lie. The second syllable in Mandarin is actually pronounced closer to jer, or a retroflex r. While the British often say lychee, the American standard is lychee, which is the historically accurate approximation of the original Chinese name. I have this weird pen that includes a whiteboard eraser on the top. However, I am trying to figure out why there is a deep notch cut into the cap. Does anyone know what the cut in the top of this pen is for? As crazy as it looks, what you found is a smartphone stand. The U-shaped groove is geometrically designed to cradle a mobile device. When you lay the pen flat on a desk, You can wedge your phone into that slot to prop it up at a comfortable viewing angle. These are commonly mass-produced as multi-function promotional items, often combining a stylus, screen cleaner, and ink pen into a single office tool. I stumbled across this board game while exploring in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It appears to be a grid with distinct pieces, but the game won't let me play it. Does anyone know what it represents? This object is known as Hnefatafl, often called Viking chess or the King's Table. It was a popular strategy game in Scandinavia as early as 400 AD, predating modern chess by centuries. Unlike chess, it is an asymmetrical game. The white player starts in the center with a king and defenders, trying to escape to a corner square. The black player controls attackers on the edges, aiming to surround and capture the king. It remained the dominant board game in Northern Europe until the 12th century, when chess finally replaced it. I found this strange object and I am tempted to pick it up to see what it feels like to squish it. It looks soft and distinct from the surrounding ground. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a discarded tampon. While it may resemble a strange fungus or sea creature, it is a common hygiene product made from a blend of compressed cotton and rayon. These fibers are engineered to be hydrophilic, meaning they are designed to absorb fluids rapidly. When exposed to rain or water, the compression releases, causing the material to expand radially and take on a swollen, spongy appearance. Because this is bio-waste, you certainly should not touch it. I have had this toy for ages, but I could never find out what it is or how to play it. It consists of a board and numbered hexagonal tiles. Does anyone know what it is? It's a mathematical logic puzzle known as a magic hexagon. The goal is to arrange the tiles, numbered 1 through 19, onto the board so that every row, in all three directions, adds up to exactly 38. While magic squares have been known for centuries, this specific Order 3 hexagon is unique because there is only one possible solution. It was famously rediscovered by railway clerk Clifford W. Adams in 1910, who worked on the problem for 47 years before solving it. I filled my cooler with tap water to clean it. I noticed against the white of the interior, the water looked like a distinct, faint color. My walls and ceiling are white, and there is snow outside, so it isn't a reflection from the environment. Does anyone know what is causing this? What you are seeing is the intrinsic color of pure water, which is a very pale blue. While a small glass of water appears colorless to the human eye, water actually possesses a slight blue tint due to selective absorption. The molecular bonds in water vibrate in a way that absorbs the red end of the visible light spectrum. This leaves the blue wavelengths to scatter back to your eyes. The stark white background of your cooler intensifies this effect by reflecting the light back through the liquid, making the faint blue hue visible. I was looking through my deceased father-in-law's library and found this. It is a metal object about the size of a nickel, glued underneath the dust jacket of his copy of the complete works of Plato. I cannot tell which way is up. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a decorative emblem from a Chilean vineyard. Specifically, this is the metal medallion often embedded in the wax seal or adhered to the glass of premium wine bottles from Chile. Wineries use these embossed discs to add prestige and verify the brand identity. Since it was glued inside the book, it is likely your father-in-law saved this token from a bottle of wine he enjoyed while reading and kept it as a personal memento. I found this strange lanyard in my roommate's office and I have never seen it before. It has my name printed on it, though I am named after a city, and the year at the top matches my birth year exactly. I tried searching the logo but found nothing. Does anyone know what it is? It is simply a souvenir conference lanyard. This is a case of coincidence rather than intent. The text printed on the fabric identifies the host city of a business convention or trade show, not a specific person. Consequently, the date at the top marks the calendar year the event took place. These woven polyester straps are standard issue at corporate events for holding plastic identification badges. Your roommate likely attended a professional gathering in that city during that year and kept the item as a memento. Alright, I found these mysterious objects on my welcome mat in St. Louis right after a heavy snowfall. It was extremely cold, about -10 degrees Fahrenheit. I didn't see any animal tracks leading up to the door. But there is an evergreen wreath hanging right above the mat where birds sometimes sit. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is frozen bird excrement. Birds possess a unique excretory system where they do not separate liquid urine from solid feces. Instead, they expel nitrogenous waste as a thick white paste called uric acid alongside dark fecal matter. In typical weather, this mixture splatters upon impact. However, the extreme sub-zero St. Louis temperatures caused the droppings to flash freeze instantly. This preserved the cylindrical shape of the bird's cloaca and kept the white uric acid cap distinct from the dark waste, creating these unusual pellet-like forms. I found this in my muffin bar while I was eating. It looks like a small woody twig embedded in the dough. Does anyone know what it is? It's a fruit pedicel, commonly known as a stem. If your bar contains ingredients like blueberries, figs, or dates, this is the rigid attachment point that connects the fruit to the branch. Industrial food processing relies on optical sorters and air density separators to remove woody debris, but small pieces occasionally bypass the sensors. While unpleasant to bite into, it is simply organic plant matter that survived the baking process. I cut open a mango and found this inside. I wasn't sure if it was some kind of genetic defect or perhaps an organism that had burrowed into the fruit. It's a different color and texture from the rest of the flesh. Does anyone know what it is? What you found is a harmless pocket of starch that never metabolized into sugar. To kill fruit fly eggs before shipping, mangoes are often picked while still immature and soaked in hot water. In some of these fruits, the heat treatment can cause small sections of the flesh to stop ripening permanently. This process halts the conversion of starch into sugar, creating the firm, pale pocket you discovered. It's completely safe to eat, but it won't taste like anything. I found this while cleaning out a junk drawer and couldn't figure out its purpose. It's a simple, sturdy metal hook. My first thought was that it's used to pry something open, or maybe to press a concealed release button. Does anyone know what it is? This object is known as a drain lifting hook. Many modern shower and floor drains have grates that sit perfectly flush with the surface, making them difficult to remove. These grates often have small, integrated holes or slots specifically for this tool. The hook is designed to fit into one of those openings, allowing you to lift the heavy metal grate straight up without damaging the finish or hurting your fingers. It provides the leverage needed to easily remove the cover for cleaning out hair and debris. I found these strange animal prints in the snow right at my front door. We have coyotes in the area, but these don't look like coyote paw prints to me. They almost look like a triangle pattern. Does anyone know what it is? Those tracks were made by a bunny. The unusual pattern is created by the way they hop. A rabbit places its two smaller front paws on the ground first, one slightly in front of the other. It then swings its much larger and more powerful back legs forward, landing them side by side and ahead of where the front paws were. This motion creates the distinctive triangle or Y shape you see, which is very different from the four-in-a-row walking gait of a dog or coyote. I was searching for a birthday GIF online and stumbled upon this clip. It shows a family counting down for what looks like New Year's, and just as the clock strikes midnight, a young girl demolishes a gingerbread house with a plastic hammer. Her focused energy made the clip go viral. Does anyone know what it is? This is a famous moment from the YouTube channel, The Bee Family. The original video was from their 2017 New Year's Eve celebration. The girl in the clip is their daughter, Gabriella. The family set up a gingerbread house for her to smash at midnight, and her enthusiastic execution of the task created the iconic moment. The clip became so popular that the family has recreated the smash in some form for nearly every New Year's celebration since, turning it into their signature tradition. I've always wondered what these are for. It seems to be some kind of sewing supply, but I have absolutely no idea what it could do. Does anyone know what it is? This object is known as a bias tape maker. It's a simple but clever tool used to create bias binding, which is a narrow strip of fabric used to finish raw edges on projects like necklines, armholes, or quilts. A strip of fabric, cut on the diagonal or bias to give it stretch, is fed into the wide end of the metal guide. As you pull the strip through, The specifically shaped channel folds both raw edges perfectly inward toward the center. You then press the folded strip with a hot iron as it exits the narrow end, creating a uniform, professional-looking tape ready to be sewn. Which of these items surprised you the most? Or maybe you have one of them in your own garage? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed learning something new today, please hit like and subscribe to support the channel. Thanks for watching.